Have you ever just woke up and the day just didn't quite seem right? It just didn't have a feel of a good day. You ever just have a great day and it seems like it's going in a direction that don't quite make sense? It's going from great to bad to worse. And you're wondering why. There's a number of reasons why. One of them can be something as simple as depression or anxiety or some other type of problem. Maybe it could just be that your perception was a little bit off. But whatever the case, we all have those days. I have them all the time. This is not something that I'm ashamed to discuss. I've had days where I've woken up and asked why, trying to understand purpose. And then I remember my purpose. I remember my why and my reason. And every time I get up, I realize that my perspective is the biggest contributor to why the day feels the way it feels. We are told that when it rains, you should be gloomy and uncomfortable. But the reality is rain brings upon newness. And while not everyone can respect that, understand this. You are not alone. You're not the only one going through something. This is not a fight you have to fight by yourself. This is simply a moment where you can take your strength and call for help. So if you are thinking about harming yourself or harming somebody else, please don't. Simply reach out and get help. Dial 988. 3 numbers, 988. They made it so much easier for you. They made it so much easier for you. And if you know someone who's going to harm himself, you don't know what to do, feel free to dial 9888 and let them know to stay because tomorrow needs them. I need them. So before you make a decision that you can't live with, make one that you can and get help. Now let's talk football. Pride Nation, I'm telling you, today is a good day for you to come and listen to a show talking about your Detroit Lions. If you have on your sensitive ears, this is your opportunity to exit stage left. I'm about to get real patty today. If you are not in the mood to hear something that doesn't align with your views, you go ahead and exit stage left, all right? I'm giving you your opportunity now. I'm also going to give you the opportunity to come on and tell me I'm full of it. But I want you to know that today is going to be a little bit of a pattiness mixed on top of some other stuff because I got to call out the hypocrisy of Pride Nation a little bit. Just a little bit. Not a whole lot. Just a little bit. So before we get into all that, let's see who's in the building with us because we're going to be talking draft and more, okay? Let's see who showed up in the building. We got friendly neighborhood Lions fan in the building. We got my man Chrome in the building. My man Jon Kapler says, sure, give me take a nap and you come on. I'm sorry. Weather slowed me down. Supposed to be on at 5, but the weather slowed me down. We got my man Tim Madison in the building. BD Busters in the building. My brother from another mother from Roar the Lion, UK, Anthony Fitzpatrick. It says, as sure as the sun rises when Luke G shows appears on the horizon, I will be up to watch it. I appreciate that, sir. We got Detroit D in the building. We got Barbary Lions in the building. Go Lions in the building. Dat Fan Man is in the building. We got Warroff Lion. I always botch his name. First black man on the net who says, what up, my guy? Hope all is well with you and the fam. It is. It is. I cannot be more happier with my situation. So it is. Mark Malice says, Super Bowl or bust. Damn. Craig Ferguson. What up, though? Mars has landed and it's in the building. Let's see. We got let me see. We got who else? Master of himself. Salute my G. This Logic. This is my new page. Hey, Logic, I see you out here. Master of himself. I like that because you have to be in control of yourself and your destiny. So I can respect that. Makai Hope's in the building. Don 19. Super Saiyan Lion is in the building. And let me go ahead and see who else. Make sure I ain't forget nobody. RachelMarieSports is in the building. Shout out to my man RachelMarieSports, man. I hope all is going well with you and the family and schooling and everything. I see you over there doing a lot of stuff. we're going to have a collab because something you said in one of your more recent videos hit me a little bit different. So we got to talk about it. We got my man's Black Spirit in the building, and Ghost Gunner is in the building. D Williams is in the building. Let me see if I can say this right. Tees stay cold. I think I got that. I think I got that. I'm feeling pretty good. I got that. Tees stay cold. All right. Tees stay cold. I got it. All right. Listen, I need y'all to help me a little bit because I'm about to get patty, and I can't do it without my music. Is this too loud for you? Can you hear me over the phone? I need you to know I need this. I need you to know that this is something that I need to do because I'm about to go in. Is this too loud for you? I just need somebody to just witness this. Okay. It says, we finna get into this. Now, you know my thumbnails generally start off what I'm gonna talk about. Okay. And it's a reason for this thumbnail in particular, because I've watched a level of hypocrisy. So I've watched a number of different things, right? Okay. I watched a number of different things. And one of the things that I watched was how fans somehow have had a change of heart. And they've had a change of heart about a number of things. Now, there's an emphasis on that getting at it there, all right? But they had a change of heart. And the first thing that they had a change of heart on was Jalen Carter. Now, this is insulting to me because I get to read some of the stupid articles that's put out there. And many of these articles offer no real logic behind their stupidity. Okay? And when I look at the stupidity of it all, it becomes clear to me why certain things are the way it is. And one of the reasons it's that way is because they know if they write it, you will read it. And if you read it, you will believe it. And if you believe it, you will preach it. And I decided to cast stones on the hypocrisy of us as a fan base. Because this same fan base has been talking with a bit of a double-edged sword. I saw this article right here. Jalen Carter projected to fall out of the top 10 in the Athletic's latest mock draft. You may be saying, but Luke, it's a mock draft. I know. But it's the comments that I saw from Lions fans. Somebody please tell me what Jalen Carter did wrong. To all the fans who said we should not draft him if he's there at 6, please tell me what he did wrong. Oh, he left the scene after he was racing. Okay, cool. All right. So since he left the scene because he was racing, he shouldn't get drafted. When we got people who has been playing in the league, who has done far more atrocious things. But because this man decided to dip from a race, it's a problem. And the moral police came out with vengeance because they had nothing to do. They just said, you know what? This is the perfect time for me to come out with vengeance. And here's the problem with that. Jalen Carter did nothing wrong. If you're telling me that Jalen Carter, well, he shouldn't have been racing. So what? You should have been running down the hallways. You remember that when you were a kid? You were told don't run through the hallways? There was too many people throwing stones, acting as if though we can't draft a player because it's not cool. Now, Frank says it's the fact that 2 people died and he left the scene when he could have rendered aid. I like that idea, Frank. I like that. Did it ever occur to people that he may not have been first aid trained? He may not knew how to do CPR? Did it ever occur to them that? What aid could he offer? Did anybody see the photos of the accident? Anybody know his background? What did he go to school for? I didn't know he went to school for pre-med. Maybe he was going to school to be an EMT. Render aid? In the city of Detroit, there's a number of races that go on all the time. Street racing is a way of life in the city of Detroit. And many of those events I go to. Not no more, but I used to go to them religiously. And I used to race in them religiously. And you know what? When I would crash a car, that was my fault. Oh, Luke, you putting blame out there. No, I'm not putting blame out there. I'm trying to get you to understand that at the end of the day, people don't respond the way you would think they would respond in a high-stress situation. I've been shot at. Ask me, do I remember who was all with me that day? I do. My best friend who committed suicide was with me that day. My other two homeboys with me that day. And I outran every last one of them. And I don't know if anybody got hit. I mean, from what I remember, nobody got hit, but I couldn't imagine being judged because I took off and ran. People make dumb decisions. You make dumb decisions. I make dumb decisions. Why are we going to now act as if though that dumb decision is enough that he's now not draftable for this team that needs talent? This is not how this works. This is not how this works. All these perfect people, raise them hands. Because I'm imperfect. I used to take BB guns and shoot at squirrels. The squirrel did nothing to me. I'm not going to eat it or nothing. I just want to shoot at squirrels. As a kid, that was my best way of hunting. I wasn't finna go in the woods. Never had opportunity. Nobody in my family really hunted. But now we're going to act as if though he's not draftable. The Lions we can't have this type of behavior. We can't have this kind of player on the team. Why? Because your moral compass said you got to be a part of the moral police? If you're telling me that what he did resulted in that car crash, cool. But he not only did he show responsibility by turning himself in, they released him, allowed him to go back to the combine. If they had so much information that led to the fact that he resulted in the death of two people, he would not have went back to the damn combine. Well, Luke, it's still an ongoing investigation. Okay. And the point is, that brings me to my next point. It's a lot of y'all who gave an A grade when the Lions traded up 20 spots and took Jameson Williams. A lot of y'all who was okay with that. But we wasn't concerned about Jameson Williams' pass. We wasn't concerned about his dumb decisions because it wasn't televised across the news. He left a race that he may or may not have been in. Okay. The same way that I hear people say you can't take Hendon Hooker because he hurt. All these people that can help this team win that now you don't want. But everybody named Mother was excited to get a hurt receiver. Even had people trying to play full-fledged surgeon to me. Doctor, physical therapist. Oh, these injuries ain't the same like they used to be. Now we can't take Hendon Hooker at 6 or at 18. Now we can't take Jalen Carter because he's got an ongoing investigation. That just make it easier for your contract negotiations. I want y'all to think about that. All the people who sitting up there and acting as if though we can't draft these people because now they did this. It doesn't make sense. Shout out to Ryder. He says what he did was wrong, but by no means was he undraftable. Dude went to take care of stuff, and there was for 16 minutes, people are overreacting. He literally did a ton of good at Georgia. I don't even care. He didn't do anything wrong. I guarantee you right now, if a fight break out and a brawl breakout, most of y'all gonna get the hell on. Some of y'all gonna pull your phone out and record because that's the kind of culture we in. But let a shot go off, and everybody runs. Nobody goes back at our point. Oh, you ran. Ooh, I can't believe you ran. I wish you, BD Buster. If he's there at 6, you run to the damn podium. Not only is he a position of need, he's a stud. He's a player you need and want. Oh, he ran someone over. And yet they released him and told him to go back to the combine. Got it. We are not a team that go after head cases. That's not really. We not. When did we start doing that? I told y'all before. I said I watched Jameson Williams not play hard when the ball not going this way. I watch him not run his routes hard. I watch him not block hard when the ball not going this way. He just do it. And then your general manager come out and make a sly remark. He makes a sly remark for no reason. We don't take head cases. Half them damn football players are head cases, including Aiden Hutchinson. Don't let the smiles and all the train talk fool you. You have an opportunity to take a player. If he's there, you take him. I guarantee y'all right now, if that same story was flipped and it was Tom Brady, and you knew that Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady, y'all would take him. Y'all would take him. So at the end of the day, I just want you to take a second to look in the mirror. Before you start throwing stones in that glass house of yours, breaking all your beautiful stuff, take a second to think. What would you do in that situation? If your answer is run towards the problem, kudos to you. But not everybody runs towards danger. Not every animal runs towards a fight. Not every person wants the smoke. And maybe he was drinking. Maybe he was drinking and driving, which I don't condone. I think it's absurd and stupid. But a decision was made by multiple people to do something reckless and stupid that was dangerous. And we don't have all the facts. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. Charles Davis got a theory. Georgia held off the arrest until the combine, hoping teams get scared and he falls to Atlanta. I bet you Atlanta ain't gonna have a problem taking him. Super Saiyan Lion says, I'm sorry, Luke. Carter, in my book, comes off looking like a bee. For leaving and knowing his boy in the other car that crashed. We don't know what he know. He could have been drunk for all we know. And when you're scared, you don't know what you're going to do. A scared person is the worst person to deal with because you never know what they're going to do. That brings me to my next point. It says, Luke, I would take prime crack smoke Lawrence Taylor if he helped us win the game. Talk to him. Talk to him. If you can have a Lawrence Taylor right now, knowing that he on crack, none of y'all gonna say nothing. If you can have Peyton Manning right now, knowing he on crack, you wouldn't say nothing. Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, you wouldn't say nothing. Now you don't want this guy because we Christian Mingle? We all imperfect. None of us is perfect. And I'm with Anthony. Where did y'all get all this goddamn information from? Y'all have so much information. Y'all already done deemed him guilty. You can't draft him. Get the hell out of here. You the same people who was hyped up over drafting a bunch of hurt people, but don't want to draft hurt people or a person who is working through a case. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? And I get what you're saying, Super Saiyan Lion. I wouldn't leave my boy hang. I get what you're saying. But what could you have done? What if that car was so mangled, there was nothing you could have did? You was just going to stay there and do what? Just witness? There's trauma to this stuff. Whenever somebody puts in their body is in their own business. I used to think that until one decided to carjack my mother. Then I realized it wasn't him doing it. It was something else. He saw an easy victim and he took an opportunity. But the reality is, we got to change the way we do stuff. We got to change the way we talk. We got to change the way we come up on this stuff. And we have to change the way that we approach these different situations. Jalen Carter should be a line if he's there at 6. Now let me spin it to the other side, to the fans that want to say you can't take Hendon Hooker because he'll be there. He'll be there in the second round. You know how many teams need a quarterback that's picking ahead of you? And I'm not talking about at 6, I'm talking about at the 18. You know how many teams need a quarterback that's picking ahead of you? You can play that game if you want to, but I don't think you're going to have the opportunity. I got one question for you because I'm sick and tired of this conversation. And I need the chat's help with this one. Do you believe that we have a franchise quarterback? Yes or no? I don't need explanations. I need a yes or no from the people in the chat. Do you believe right now the Detroit Lions have their franchise quarterback? I want to know. I want to know. Do you believe the Lions have his franchise quarterback? I want to see who got the ball to put it out there. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. I want to know, do you believe that this is what we got? Okay? I want to put that out there. I'm getting ready to drop the link in a minute, but I got to stay on my patty just a few more minutes because I got to finish this out strong. Then I'll let you come in and cuss at me. All right? I got one yes. I got one no. 2 yes to 1 no. I got one, you don't really need a franchise quarterback to win. I got 2 no's to 2 yeses. 3 no's to 2 yeses. 4 no's to 2 yeses. 5 no's to 2 yeses. 3 yeses. So this right here, Go Lions, it's a little confusing for me. If you believe you have a franchise quarterback, why are you drafting one in 2 years? And so for me, it's a no. And the answer is simple for a reason. If you are a yes, then you're telling me that when the draft is over, the Lions need to quickly re-sign Jared Goff to a 4-year deal. Even if it costs you 45. To the people who think, who to say he won't take 35? This guy does. His hands are raised real high. You can't see it, but his hands is raised real high. This guy say he's not taking no 35 million. Why would he? This might be his last payday. You taking 35 million? Stop playing. Stop playing. If your answer is yes, you're telling me after the draft, we need to re-sign him. Well, Luke, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we mean. Yes, it is. Because you got to understand, if he's your franchise quarterback, you should be able to get 4 more years out of him. Well, Luke is not the same. You know, he's going to be old then. He's 28 going on 29 in October. So 4 more years puts him at, what, 33, 34? Not bad. Not old. I'm not in the position, or I'm not comfortable enough to want to re-sign this man for 4 more years. I'm not. Goff will be 31 years old in 3 years. Okay. So if you extend him out after he turned 29. You give him 4 more years. He's not taking a short deal. The Lions you can't take your cap and give this guy a short deal. It's going to kill your cap. It's going to kill your cap. And if your answer is, yo, I really want to bring this guy in. I really want to keep this guy here for 4 more years. I respect the hell out of your perspective and your view. I think you capping, but I believe it. I respect it. But that also tells me that you're okay with them spending the money for him to be here for 4 more years. He'll be making more money than Stafford was. And many of you didn't even like Stafford. Shout out to my man Noel. He said, boot camp is real soon. Thinking about you. Video's going to keep me going. Appreciate that, man. You be safe while you do the boot camp. I love my veterans. I love my veterans. They be on call for this. And I respect that. But I want people to also understand something too. I want people to understand something when you look at this stuff. Stop being biased. Who's the best quarterback in this draft to you? If you believe we got a franchise quarterback, who's the best quarterback in this draft to you? If you don't believe we got a franchise quarterback, who's the best quarterback in this draft to you? For me, it's Hendon Hooker. I got one for Anthony Richardson. Okay. That was very impressive in my opinion that he didn't throw no picks the second half of the season. Very impressive. We don't have to extend him till 2024. Okay, so now the price tag go up. You can play that game if you want to. You can play that game if you want to. If you want to sit here and play the game or wait until 2024 when he's at the last year of his deal, play that game. See how much it's going to cost you. See how much it's going to cost you. Are you ready to pay more than because I can tell you right now, if we're going to wait until 2024, yeah, you can forget 45K. Forget 45K. If we're waiting to 2024, forget 45K. You might as well go ahead and get the pockets ready if you're doing it that way. Because guess what? The price is going up every year. Play that game if you want to. That's why I'm trying to explain to people, if you are sitting up here saying you're the franchise quarterback, you have to extend them now. You can't wait. Okay? You have to. I'm putting the link in the description because I'm going to let y'all come in and check off on me. It's simple. The question is asked. I see the question. Shout out to my man's in the mix in the building. William Birch is in the building. Dr. Detroit's in the building. Hendon Hooker without injury. Bryce Young for the highest floor. AR for crazy ceiling. Yeah, it's Hendon Hooker. With or without the injury. Most ready one to me. Most ready one to me. So the question that Dr. Detroit asked me is why? Why we got to do it after the draft? Because you're trying to get ahead of it when the cost is lower. And the very moment you wait till the last year of this deal, guess what you're doing? You're getting ready to have to now re-up and mortgage draft picks to trade up to get your quarterback of the future. Or you're going to have to just go ahead and fall into the abyss of giving him what he wants. Just putting it out there. Shout out to my own Detroit's own Big Will. What's going on, brother? My man Raw Detroit, aka TA, says, preach, Luke, talk your talk. I'm just trying to talk the truth. Nolan Smith ran a 4.39. Should we draft him and make him a receiver? Watch. You know how it go. Everybody want what's fast, but what's fast ain't always what's the best. Do my man 1991 Max Stagg a favor and hit it. Now, so now my thing is this. I remember this. Hey, you called it. Sheila is a problem. She ain't stupid. She know how to make it run. I was happy as hell when she took over. I was happy as hell. Only thing I'm trying to do is put it out there that at the end of the day, y'all was hype as hell for the hurt receiver. Do you still trust Brad Holmes if he's going to draft a hurt quarterback? If your answer to that is no, then again, more hypocrisy. Either it's in Brad you trust or you don't. This is not me coming at Brad Holmes. This is just me pointing out the facts. Y'all were perfectly fine taking a hurt fast receiver, but because the quarterback ain't fast, we can't take the hurt quarterback. Doesn't make sense. And you're talking about keeping a quarterback who many of us don't believe is a franchise quarterback. And the ones who believe that he's a franchise quarterback need to be prepared to pay that 4-year deal. Now, shout out to the first black man on the net because he said, yeah, I'll pay the 4-year deal. We have our franchise quarterback. I can respect that. But we have to be able to start to find a replacement now. Now, I don't get y'all enough of my pattiness. I just wanted to put it out there. And I agree with you, Dr. Detroit. I agree. The quarterback we take will sit at least a season. Right. And everybody's more than willing to wait for the receiver to sit a season. Nobody had a problem with that. But God forbid we get a quarterback and he got to sit. God forbid that we do that. Then it's all kind of problems. He says, I'm down for whatever he does as a tight end that's selected. Shout out to you, Mike. I see you back there, Pram, so I'm finna get it to you. I'm just saying. Super Saiyan says, I don't mind taking Hooker, but not at 6. He would be available in the second round. You think so? You think so? Let's test that theory a little bit. Let's test that theory a little bit. Not a whole lot, just enough. Right? I just want to know. If you were to look at it right now, the current draft order, nothing else, nothing more, just the current draft order. I want to know, do you have that same confidence? I'm finna set it up because I want to see what the people think. I think people could be right. He could fall to the second round. Do you know where your pick is in the second round? Do you know where you pick at? Do you think he makes it to you in a second? Ramsey, hold tight for me, brother, please. Appreciate the patience. I got to finish cooking a little bit more. Let's talk about right now. We already know who's ahead of us. Right? We already know who's ahead of us. No secret here. Bears ain't taking no quarterback. That's done. Texans taking a quarterback. Colts taking a quarterback. That's 2. Seattle is taking a quarterback. That's 3. You think the Vegas Raiders need a quarterback? You don't. Shocking. I don't remember Derek Carr being there no more. Huh, interesting. You think the Falcons will pass up getting one of them good quarterbacks if they fall to them? You don't? Okay. What about Carolina? Do they need a quarterback? So already, we got more than 5 teams who need a quarterback. Houston pick at 12. The Jets. If they can't get Aaron Rodgers, you don't think they're ready to find somebody to take over for that man on Zach Wilson? No? Okay. What about Washington? Do they need a quarterback? No? Cool. What about Tampa Bay? Because you know he's going to fall to the second. Think Tampa Bay need a quarterback? If the Baltimore Ravens don't re-sign Lamar Jackson, you think they're going to look at a quarterback and treat it like a tank season? You don't think they'll need one? No? Okay. You think Minnesota finna go and just ride with Kirk Cousins? They not finna prepare themselves to get their future? No? Cool. What about the Giants? Do they need a quarterback? No? All right. The Saints. Think they need a quarterback? Let's talk about the second round. So we know Pittsburgh's at 33. Houston's at 34. The Cardinals at 35. The Colts, the Rams. You think the Rams at 37 don't need a quarterback? I just want to know what y'all thoughts are. Y'all keep praising and thinking he gonna fall to you in a second. I learned from 2 drafts that shit don't work no more. There's too many teams who need what we need. Think the Rams, who ain't got a first round pick, wouldn't take a quarterback to sit behind Stafford, like Hendon Hooker. And then we still got Seattle, Carolina, Tennessee. You don't think they need a quarterback? Oh, okay. What about Green Bay? Look how many teams pick before. You don't pick until pick 49. You mean to tell me a quarterback gonna survive until pick 49? You already know he's not playing this year. You already know he gonna sit. Why do we keep on insisting on this idea that he's just gonna fall to the second if we can get him in the second? Because you did draft simulators? After Detroit said he'll be there at 49. I hope you're right. Anthony says Hooker plays a spread, high-tempo offense. We don't. Well, that's why you draft him for the future. Because this also gives you the opportunity to have a guy being groomed who don't got to play this year. And there's no guarantee that Ben Johnson's going to be here for the next 2 seasons. I just want you to look at it. You pick 49 in the second round. All them teams ahead of you who need a quarterback, you telling me he gonna make it? If he makes it, then I'm wrong. My soul says he's not. My spirit said he won't. But a lot of teams need a quarterback, and they're going to take it. There's a lot of teams who need somebody to be replacing other teams because they know they want that guy to be it. Washington is one of them. New England might be in the mix in the second round for a quarterback. But the Falcons, the Green Bay Packers, all these teams who need a quarterback, I just don't see it. A black man on the net says no difference. We will go backwards as a franchise if we draft him in the first and second. You only got Goff on contract until 2024. He can be essentially ready after 1 year. Or after 2 years, he still have 3 years on his contract to show you what he got. Because guess what? If the Lions do what many of the fans think they're going to do, which is go to the playoffs, they're probably picking in the 20s. Which means if they really want a quarterback that they really love, you might as well get ready to mortgage your whole draft. And then you're going to be crying and complaining when we look up and we ain't got no first-round picks or second-round picks because they're going to be on that fuck them picks attitude. And that's another point that you make right there, Marcus Willis. Why do people act like if we just use one of those earlier picks on the quarterback, we can't build on the defense? You got to ask yourself, who's the best quarterback in this draft to you? Who's number 2? Who's number 3? Who's number 4? And once you go down the list of all those teams, ask yourself, are you going to get one of your 4 favorite quarterbacks? And if the answer is no, then at that point, go and get your backup as a veteran. But having a quarterback that's on the roster who's sitting there chilling, when you don't know if your offensive coordinator is going to be here in 2 seasons, it's a smart move by me. You want a pass rusher, to draft full of them. You want cornerbacks, get one at 18. You want linebackers? Get them in the second round. You got 2 of them. Just use your head. Don't look at all the other stuff. Use your head and answer this question. Ask this question. Where in the hell are they supposed to take a quarterback at? Oh, we can take Max Duggan. Oh, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy. He's the one you want. He's the franchise quarterback. You're not picking 6th overall. You won't be in position to get no stuff. The only thing that you can do, in my opinion, is trade down. And if you can't, you have to take a quarterback. Your quarterback has 2023 and 2024 on his contract. If Goff goes out and have a bad season, you be right, get rid of him. If you have a good season, you be talking about to extend him. And you know the best part about it? You don't have to. You can just trade him to a quarterback-needy team and get some draft capital back. You can use early picks, but don't believe Stroud, Young, Richardson would be available at 6. Hell, 4 quarterbacks could go straight. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. And this is the other part of it, too. Let's say, for example, 4 quarterbacks do go straight. Hell, let's say 5 of them go straight, right? You sit at 6. If 4 go straight, you still walk out with either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. What are you upset about? But if you're stuck at 6, you take the quarterback. All right, people. I appreciate y'all letting me rant with my rant patty music. Hope y'all enjoyed that little bit of a segment. I'm gonna let y'all learn to cuss me out. Let y'all do me dirty for a minute. Bring in my first guest, Crimson Shadow. What's going on, sir?
Not much. Just was chilling in the background. Hearing about the QB preach. Just scored a goal in NHL 23, and not much else to report on today.
Yeah. So here's my question: this idea that the Lions can wait to get a quarterback later or in 2024. I have a very simple question to those people who have that viewpoint. Where do you think the Lions is picking at next year? If you tell them you think they're going to be a top 10 team in the picks, okay.
It's going to depend. My opinion is going to matter in 2 different ways. It's going to depend on free agency, and it's going to after where all the QBs are going to go. If there's going to be any trades, is Aaron Rodgers going to go to the Raiders or any other factors involving that? Or if we're trading back, are we doing what we did last time? Are we trading up with Tampa Bay to get their first round for next year so we have draft capital to move up in the future? So if Goff does do good, we can trade him and then probably accrue more picks to move up in the draft to get the QB we want. But then that comes to another issue of if you're doing that, you're starting the kid day one, and that depends on your opinion and the QB. That's usually trial by fire. It's a lot of factors here. You can do it, but it's a lot of ifs.
My issue is this. We've noticed a group of people who want to push these narratives because they're the moral police, right? Like, oh my God, like this, what they're doing is the equivalent to somebody being like, oh my God, you had a baby out of wedlock. Like, like, what are we doing?
I mean, it also doesn't help. I don't care much for this QB draft except for Bryce Young. So
the only reason I believe that the Lions should take Hendon Hooker at 6 is because you're stuck there. And if you're stuck there and you already know that no matter who you take at quarterback, they're not starting.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with that.
Take him at 6. Just get it over with.
Yeah, it's no problem. I just don't think any of the guys look at him. I'm like, is any of these guys going to be better than Goff? That's my problem. And I'm going, unless Bryce Young, I don't think so. Stroud is just Goff light, to me anyways. Will Levis, I wouldn't trust him. And
that's the kind of quarterback that Brad Holmes would love and covet. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I could see it. Will Levis, Jack Campbell, Dan Campbell and Will Levis looks like the type of guys to be partying at a bar.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I like this statement right here from the Chaos Controller who says, yeah, I don't want a quarterback problem like the Browns. Well, go ahead and renew your franchise quarterback. Because if you are okay with having a franchise quarterback, like if you're okay with it, extend them after the draft. The only reason I say do it after the draft is because you still want teams to think you're going to take a quarterback so you can get that trade to get more capital. But once you see that it didn't work, after the draft, re-sign that man. He your franchise quarterback. But not too many people are going to agree with that.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that I definitely agree we need a QB. And it was going to be this year that I would be like, yeah, take the quarterback. But I look at these quarterbacks and I'm like, okay, Stroud's probably not going to fall to us. Neither is Bryce Young. That leaves me with Richardson, Levis.
Richardson, he's not even on my board. He's not even on my board. I didn't say draft any quarterback. I said name me your top 4 quarterbacks, right? And if you're telling me Richardson is one of your top 4, great. Richardson scares me too much.
Yeah,
he scares the shit out of me. I'm sorry. The word I would use for him is inconsistent. And an inconsistent quarterback terrifies me. It just does.
If you're drafting him, you have complete faith in your coaching staff. And like I said, he's going to need to go to the right team. Because if he goes to the wrong team, it's going to be a car crash. I can promise you that.
And this is the sad part. This is the other thing I want to bring up because people didn't want to see this. And I think this is a very good 2 points put out by these next comments, which is from not a Lions fan, but he says it actually depends on how you evaluate the team right now. Is this team right now a contending team or not?
How I would put it,
it's a good question.
It's a very good question. I want to say, oh God, in the later parts of the year, I'd say yes, but in the beginning parts, no. And again, that the other question stems: are we going to see the same thing happen, or are we going to be at the same place where we have a very slow start and then we just ramp up in the end and just blast through and then just fall short?
The biggest thing that I see with this question is that most people will have a hard time answering it.
It's very hard.
It would say that we're a contending team. So if you're a contending team, then now you can take your luxury pick here because this is a luxury pick. And to show you an example of it, just simply look at what the Dallas Cowboys did. They took Zeke because they ended up with the 4th overall pick, and it's like, oh, well, okay, I'm not going to be here again. So it made sense to me to do that. And to me, it makes another thing. Another thing that I laugh at is something that fan man says. I'm laughing thinking about our we needed defense draft, thinking we could go Stroud and Beijing in the first.
Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of Bijan. I get the love for Bijan. I do.
And I screamed and hollered at the top of the lungs that we need to get linebackers. We need cornerbacks. We need to get detail. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
I'm not going to deny our wide receiver depth before Jameson came in wasn't exactly that great either. But
guess what though? You could have got Pickens in the second, or you had options, bro. You didn't have to take Jameson. Jameson helped you at all. None this first season. None. Yeah. I'll challenge anybody. Anybody want to challenge me and say that Jameson helped this team in the first? That bullshit.
No, he's a future. There was no doubt about that. He's definitely a long-term idea. That's definitely what the plan was for him. Even they admitted that.
Let me bring in my next guest who always showed me some love, and you may not notice it, but we look just alike. My man Anthony from RachelMarieSports UK. What's going on, sir? Oh, Anthony, you're muted.
Hey, Luke, how you doing? Man.
There you go, brother. How you doing, man?
Not bad, thanks. How's things?
It's good. It's good. The weather slowed me down. I supposed to have been on here by 4:35, but we had rain, snow, whatever you want to call it, and people did the right thing and slowed down. So kudos to them.
We're about to get snow over here as well, so I feel the pain. Although we don't get that much anymore.
Hey, when you get it, enjoy it. I love the wintertime, so it is what it is.
Willis just
before I get you going into this, Anthony, Marcus Willis says we wouldn't be in a situation if we would have just drafted Justin Herbert instead of Jeff Okudah. That's a thought. Or you could everybody want to act like Isaiah Simmons is not good. Oh, he's so trash. I'll be thinking to myself like, okay, he's definitely better than Okudah. So say what you want, but he's definitely better than Okudah. And when you're looking back on it, you might as well have took the quarterback then. And that's a good example you give there to explain why when you are in a position to get the quarterback that you could, and they're not going to have to play that first year, good for you. Because think about it. If you take the quarterback this year, like Hendon Hooker, or let's say you like CJ Stroud, right? You let him sit. The next year you release him, that's almost $30 million. If it's not $30 million. I forget the damn cap number, right?
I think it is $30 million, yes. And hey, you were Isaiah, I was Derek Brown. So, and again, who would you rather have?
Isaiah over Derek Brown. I think Derek Brown does good work.
I know, but I'm saying between Derek Brown and Jeff.
Oh, Derek Brown.
Bingo.
I just didn't think that Jeff was a top 10 quarterback. I mean, a top 10 corner. So, yeah. Anthony, I said a lot today. I went off about the Jalen Carter hate that people are spewing out. Don't want to draft him. I talked about, if you believe that you have a franchise quarterback after the draft, you should also believe that we need to extend him. What are your thoughts on what I brought up so far?
So, firstly, that thing about Herbert, we had Stafford back then, and Stafford was happy in Detroit. So, you've got to give context to a situation there. Oh, we could have just drafted Herbert when we had Matthew Stafford, who's won a Super Bowl since then, by the way. It's not all cut and dry as to when you were getting. That one is just one of those what-ifs that we know about in hindsight now. But for drafting a quarterback, I mean, let's just remember, Luke, let's go back 12 months. Oh, we're picking second in the draft. We might never get to pick here again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to draft Malik Willis, the player of the future, the guy who is going to get it. How did that work out? Titans could quite conceivably cut him in the near future. It would have been one of the worst picks Detroit had ever made in a draft. You have to be careful. Just because we're here doesn't mean we should pick somebody. If they are not the right person, then don't pick them for pick's sake.
Let me ask you a question. Anthony. I want your honest opinion on this, and I know you're going to give it to me. If Brad Holmes selects Hendon Hooker with the 6th overall pick, are you mad at him?
Yeah, I am mad at him.
Okay.
I don't believe him to be worthy of that pick. That's just my own personal take. I respect anyone who believes that he is, but at the end of the day, I would trust Brad. I would not like it personally. But
where would you like for him to be drafted to where you would be comfortable with it? Would 18 make you feel better?
No, we're talking today too here, Luke.
Okay, so you're thinking second round,
second, third. I mean, just
because at that point, I believe you're going to have to trade up to get him.
So
if you trade back and then trade back in with the capital you got,
but he plays a system which we don't. You've got to reteach him everything about the way he plays, the offense he's got to learn it. And I know it's the same with a lot of quarterbacks at college level, but, it was almost air raid there. And you've got to be careful when transitioning that to the college level. And we don't really have that many burners outside of JMO. Yeah, it's just one, but it's not the way they work. And I just don't think he fits the mesh here. You're adding in the injury as well. You're hoping that he's coming back from the injury because his game is predicated on his movement. He's got a big arm, but he moves around a lot as well. That's how his offense works. You've got to make sure he's fit. I
didn't hear nobody complain about movement with the fast ass receiver with the same injury. I didn't hear nobody talking about that.
Okay, that's two different positions, man. You're
right. One got to run full speed and cut and make interchangeable moves, and the other one has to just do footwork and stay in the pocket. You're right. There are two of them, but I heard no complaints. So what's going on, Sweatbread?
I digress, Luke. I heard complaints about it every week because I listen to you, and I love listening.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I will give you that. I was complaining about it because I just thought it was absurd, and for some reason, people love receivers in this damn football town. I don't care who you take.
I mean, have a high ceiling.
So I think my overall point, what I mean is, we're saying we're at 6, so we have to take one because we're at 6. But I would argue that we had the same. Not
because it's 6. I'm saying, like, if you can't trade the pick and you're stuck there, and you already know for a fact that you're stuck there, you're not getting Jalen Carter, you're not getting Will Anderson. And I'm sorry, there is not a cornerback worthy of the 6th overall pick. I didn't see any Sauce Gardners in this draft.
But then taking a quarterback. Let's just balance this out.
Okay.
Let's go say we're gonna take a quarterback 6 because you don't believe there's anyone there. But what if we take the wrong quarterback? What if Goff continues to play well and the new quarterback doesn't work because we've acted hastily and thinking that we need to make this pick now, that could set your franchise back even further because you've wasted a pick on a guy and then you need to go and get another guy. We don't know what the future is going to hold in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL. This time last year, some people were advocating for Malik Willis because they're like, well, look at next year. We don't know what we're going to get. It's uncertain. And people were saying, oh, well, Richardson, he might be really good. Levis might be really good. And look, we get here and it's not that good a class, let's face it, but we don't know if next year will be better. We don't know these guys who are going to come out. Everyone just says it's going to be Drake May and Caleb Williams. We don't know if they're going to be good yet, but we can't pick the wrong guy. I mean, Mahomes went at what, 12, 10, 11, 12?
What happened?
I'm saying it's I'm not saying it's an exception to the rule, but there are good quarterbacks who will be around. You don't necessarily need the 1 or 2 pick. All I'm saying is making a QB pick at 6 now for the sake of it, or because we believe in value, could be just as bad, if not worse, than passing this year. You've got to be careful.
I can follow your logic and what you're saying, right? I can follow all of that. Here's my counter to it, right? The Malik Willis situation was totally different. I thought Malik Willis was completely overblown. It was ridiculous. It was just absolutely overblown. I didn't see a person who was worthy of that draft pick, and I stood on it. Everybody wanted him because he could run. That's all it was. I get it, right? But I want to show you, right? I want to show you based on something that stood out to me. You talk about the Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs traded up to get him.
Yep.
Right.
But and they also only traded
wait a minute. They traded up to get him, right? And we know that when they did that trade to get him, they still gave up a pretty good penny, but it didn't cost as much. When I've seen the history of this NFL and this trade stuff, it goes up every freaking year, right? And so now at that point, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, they went out and got that guy who sat behind Alex Smith for a year, and then they took the money that they received from moving on from Alex Smith and provided weapons to him. All I'm offering to you is the idea that, hey, you've already had no problem waiting on a receiver to come in and play and sit out for basically the whole year. And you seem to be happy and ecstatic about that. And you already have the opportunity to know that, hey, in 2024, if you dump him, that gives you a whole lot of cap space to continue to surround him with talent on not only offense, but defense. And you can effectively get his guard to help you complete your line in this thing. Now, Geno Smith just got a 3-year, $105 million deal, where if you divide that by 3, that's $35 million a year. $35 million. And if you are under the belief that you're going to get Jared Goff to play for $35 million a year, well, Geno just got 35, and he's going to say he's better. So at that point, I would much rather say, you know what? I'm stuck at 6. This player does not have to play at all this year. They just have to sit. So that's it.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'd actually do what Seattle have done. If you read what they've done, he can earn $52 million in his first year. No. So what they've done, they've front-loaded the deal. He can earn half his money in year 1 of a 3-year deal. That does not shout out long-term starter to me. They're giving Geno an incentive to carry on winning and playing well. And I fully believe now they're going to draft Richardson or Levis, and they're going to develop their guy of the future. So they're keeping the starter, who rightfully deserves his job, happy, whilst looking after the future. If the Lions are going to be sensible, they should do something like that with Goff. Front load him now, give him a crap ton of money over the next year or 2. If you want to do that, then fine. But it's got to be the right guy. And the whole Jameson thing, we said we're waiting for a year. That's different. Jameson, and I know you'll hate me saying this, but Jameson is a rare prospect for a receiver coming through the draft. The speed he possesses, the traits he possesses is worth waiting a year. In the life of a wide receiver, with a quarterback, it's different. You can't just assume it means a lot more going forward, Luke. You've got to be careful.
And the biggest...
I'll tell you what. Let's say hypothetically that this happens. I'm going to let you go next, Crimson. But let's say hypothetically what you say happened. Let's say Jared Goff goes out to have another good year, right? Then you just trade him. He's trade bait. You trade him. You don't have to keep him. You trade him. But if let's say they did what you said, they front loaded the shit out of his contract. So now he goes from 2024, he gets a higher salary. It ain't gonna be $35 million. Chalk it up. It's a wrap on that. Geno just set the damn table for your quarterback. Okay. He ain't playing for $35 million a season. So we can go ahead and nip that in the butt. So 45, 50, somewhere in that area. Right. So let's just look at that. Now, stay with me. You pay that money. He does good for one more season. He does good for the next season. And you got 2 more years on the contract. He does good for that next season. Are you extending him again? Probably not. But what you could do is you can already move on, save your cap, save your time, save your trouble, move on from him after one more season, get your cap, put that money on something that can help you now, and keep it pushing. My only thing is this, and this is also to you in the mix. He says, ain't no Patriots in this draft, Luke. Stop the hope. I didn't say it was. I never said it was a Patrick Mahomes in this draft. What I said is if you take the guy now, the only guys that I'm willing to take at 6, because I believe they can come in and start immediately, is Will Anderson, because then at that point, you're probably moving on from Romeo, and Jalen Carter. And if I'm not taking any of those 2, and I'm stuck at 6, I'm not taking a cornerback. I got to say it like that because people have a hard time picking it up. I'm not doing it because we saw what Sauce Gardner did. He's different. There isn't a Sauce Gardner in this draft. Not Gonzalez. The best cornerback in this draft ain't even getting the best cornerback praise, which is Joey Porter Jr. So, no. If I'm stuck at 6, I'm taking the quarterback. It's simple.
Here's my biggest issue with trying to compare. I know you like to say that Lions fans have this whole thing where it bash with wide receivers. I get it, and I agree. I've always made fun of Lions fans in the sense of wide receiver fast like choo-choo. But the problem is comparing the wide receiver and quarterback is the difference is we always thought JEMlive was going to be good in the long run. The problem is none of these quarterbacks that we ever really feel about, even if we sat him behind for 2 years, a lot of us don't even think they're going to be good. And if you're not upgrading on Goff, you fucked up. That's the problem. If you mess this up, and this guy is worse than Goff, congratulations. He's cheap, but great. We have Rodney Peete all over again. And if you're old enough to remember Rodney Peete, oh boy, you're going to have a fucking ride.
My problem with that viewpoint is this, right? You're basically saying don't take him because you're afraid of this possibility that he could be Rodney Peete or he could be this. Yeah, but it's a possibility for all of them. It's a possibility that Jalen Carter could end up being Albert Hainsworth. It's a possibility that Jared Goff goes back to Jared Goff ways, right? There's a possibility that JEMlive is a diva, or maybe that's just a reality if you was paying attention and seeing how he wasn't running hard. But the reality is this. The reality is this. And again, this is from somebody who was rooting for Goff and then threw the white flag in when he refused to throw the ball down the field. Now, this year, he started off with that same crap, but then he started pushing the ball down the field. But the reality is this. If you go out and take the quarterback when you're stuck at 6, it does not hurt you the way you think it is. This is not the old days where you have to pay out these huge contracts and do all this other stuff. You're going to allow for that guy to sit. You're going to dump his contract for the 2024 season. You're going to get that cap and get more help to help the defense and offense, and you living your best life. And guess what? All you have to do is ask yourself is, if you're telling me that you believe the Lions are going to suck next year, and you believe that, fine. Don't take no quarterback now. You'll probably be high enough to not to trade that far to get him. But if you think like I think the Lions are going to be decent, you're going to probably be picking in the teens to the 20s. Yeah, you get the quarterback now. He's just going to sit anyway. And you were already okay with the receiver sitting.
But what if they're not right quarterback's not there, Luke? You can't just take a quarterback for the sake of it. And we're all saying
But I never said, listen to what I'm saying. I never said take the quarterback for the sake of it. I've never said that. I've never used those words. I never said take a quarterback for the sake of it. What I said is if you were to go through and do your own list, like even right now, this is your opportunity, right? Anthony, name me your top 5 quarterbacks. Right now, in your opinion.
Well, just in general, or for the Lions, because there ain't 5.
After now,
there isn't 5.
Okay, so I'm just saying. But what do you think? 2, 3, 1? How many do you think it is?
In all honesty, if it's not Bryce Young, then it's Richardson as a long-term project, and I'm talking 2-3 years, and I'm fully throwing my stock behind Jared Goff.
Okay,
but that is if you're twisting my arm.
Okay, so you have Bryce Young is number one, Richardson is a long-term project, right? And so you're telling me you can't trade the 6th pick, and Richardson is there. You're not taking him?
No, I mean,
okay, and so you're not taking him because of what?
I'm not taking him because there's far too much uncertainty there, Luke. There's a guy
exactly. It's a lot of uncertainty with him, but there's no uncertainty with Hendon Hooker. The only reason Hendon Hooker is not being talked about as a potential first overall pick, and I'll go back and kind of reiterate this just for the purposes of the show. The only reason you're not getting this conversation with Hendon Hooker is because right here, Houston looking for a starter. The Colts looking for a starter. Seattle, who just took a 3-year deal, knowing that they got 2 picks, they're going to take their quarterback later with that 2nd pick if they can't do it here. But they're looking for a starter, right? They're not looking for a starter. Vegas looking for a starter. Carolina looking for a starter, right? And so if Hendon Hooker was healthy, because everybody wants to take this guy, the guy who's around 53 to 53.8% of his passes in one season, 54.7 for his whole career. They want to take that guy, and they're scared to take this dude who completed almost 70% of his passes last year, at 66.9% completion percentage in his career. They don't want to take that guy because he's got a ACL injury. Stop this noise.
But does it also occur that they might not want to do it? They might not want to take a quarterback. They might think they have to. So I want, because people saying we have to take one. I want to bite back on this thing. Everyone's going, oh, Goff's going to ask for 50 million, 55 million, stupid amount a year if Daniel Jones gets paid. You don't know that. And what I'm going to, no one stopped to think about what Jared Goff wants. Jared Goff has earned a crap ton of money in his career so far. If he has another year here where he takes us into the postseason and we start winning games and we carry on progressing with him at the helm, what's he remembered for? He's remembered for getting to the quarter ball with the Rams and then failing and not there. He needs to go and win one to wash that away from here. And the team is putting a lot of faith in him. I genuinely believe he played so well last year because the team showed faith. They could have pulled the trigger after 1 year and said, you're done. We don't want you no more, even though you're in a bad situation. They stuck by him. You stick by him another year, he gets you to the postseason. Then when it comes to contract renegotiation, how do you not know that he's then going to go, you know what? I'll take a good deal for this team because I want to win a Super Bowl with this team. And I've got a good level quarterback. I can build my team around him, and I can go there with him. People are not saying that. They go, oh, he's just going to fleece the team. Faith begets faith. This team, he's a confidence guy. And if they back him, there is no reason to assume he's going to hold us to ransom in 2 years and we're suddenly going to be stuck without a quarterback. These are all scenarios people are making up in their heads at the minute. It's just as plausible that he stays for the benefit of the team than he does try to ransom it. So maybe the team knows this. Maybe the team knows that if they stick with him, we can build this team around him because we've shown we can be pretty good with him.
They've spent 2 drafts building this team around him in 2 off seasons. They've literally neglected the worst part of this defense since they asked this guy here to put talent around him. And what we've got is a guy who's who's flat out refusing to throw the damn ball down the field.
I mean, we still got a top 5 offense out of the team.
We've gone from a rank ass terrible team, which Bob Quin nearly killed, to the verge of the playoffs in 2 years with naught but young players, guys who are injured, and a quarterback who came here with no confidence or self-esteem whatsoever. And in 2 years, we're favorites for the NFC North. Our odds are the best for the NFC North next year. And you've done that in 2 years from a wasteland, a cesspit of a team that had nothing going for it. But he's built brilliantly through the draft, Luke. He's putting lots of young talent in. 2 more first-round picks on positions that are going to get us starters. Free agency, you're going to get the money back. It's not a foregone conclusion that he can do it.
And also to note on the coaching, because a lot of the players we have would not be playing as well on other teams. You can't tell me guys like Khalif Raymond. You think Khalif Raymond would be playing as well as he's playing on
the thing that I don't want to do, I want y'all to understand, I don't want us to get away from what the original thing is. And that is if you're stuck at 6, what are you doing with the pick? And I probably should have asked you that. I should have said, hey, what are you doing with that pick if you're stuck at 6 and Will Anderson is not on the board, Jalen Carter's not on the board, all right? What are you doing with that pick? You can't trade it. You're stuck at it. Crimson, what are you doing with the pick?
I'm taking Cansey.
Okay, so we got a D tackle at 6. Anthony, what are you doing with the pick at 6? You're stuck with it. You can't trade it. No Carter. There is no Will Anderson. What are you doing with the pick?
I'm taking my elite corner, Luke. I mean,
and who's that corner? Who's the corner you think?
I'm taking Witherspoon 100% of the day. And people go that, but how many times did we come on streams last year and complain about our rank as secondary getting shredded week?
I'm still complaining about it. I'm still complaining about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, if in lieu of a quarterback not been there, which you think Hooker, that is fine, but me, I ain't sold on any of them that are gonna drop to us. So I'm not wasting a pick on a guy that I am not sold on. I want to be as sure as I can be on a guy going to the next level. So instead, I'm going to take my outside corner, who is going to be elite and going to be shut down. I'm not saying he's going to be Sauce Gardner. This issue that we're looking for our next Sauce Gardner, that is a lazy take designed to try and discourage people from coming away from the corner. We're not looking for Sauce Gardner.
Who do you compare Witherspoon to?
I compare Witherspoon to Witherspoon. I don't do player comps. I'm not saying it's going to be the next.
That's fair. That's fair. You do that. You do that.
I'm saying,
but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. When you look at Witherspoon, what do you think he brings to the team that we don't already have on it?
He's a lockdown outside corner who works in heavy man coverage, which is something we've not had with a lot of our corners. They are not designed to play in our system. He brings physicality. He brings, you got locked down the side of the field with him. He's something we do not have. I'm fed up of wheeling, hacks like Will Harrison out there trying to do a job on these guys when they're not even equipped to play in XFL. I will take my guy who can do that because it is a massive hole in our defense that we need to fix. And if I've got to spend 6 to fix it, fine, I will do. I'm not going to just take I'm not just going to take a quarterback I ain't sold on, and I'm not going to be discouraged off going after another corner. I'm not just going to say Sauce is a freak of nature. Yes, he is.
Throw Sauce out the window, right? We throw him out the window, right? Everything you said about Witherspoon was said about Jeff Okudah. And
it was sold on Okudah, and I don't think
everything. No.
Oh, Luke, let's stop being revisionist here, Luke.
No. I'm not revisionist. I'm telling you, everything that you were saying about Witherspoon was said about Okudah. Oh, he's physical. He's the best press coverage corner and everything. That's what he said.
Yeah, but difference is Anthony actually watches the film. The other guy, not so much.
But I'm not saying that Anthony doesn't watch the film. I'm not saying that the other guy do or don't. I'm telling you that what the overall census was that he's a press corner who's physical. And I responded with, I wouldn't take him with a top 10 pick. Now, I'm not saying that to say that I thought Okudah didn't have any talent. Okay, I'm not saying that.
I didn't say Witherspoon was a press corner. I didn't say it was a press corner. He does his best work on the perimeter or on the outside. It doesn't need to be impressed. I'm just saying, Luke, it's instead of giving me a reason to not draft you, just saying there's not going to be another source there. That's not an argument.
Everyone on here was defending Okudah. You were blasting me about calling him a bust on draft night. Till this year, facts. I'll stop shouting.
I was so pissed. I smacked a water bottle. I was so
wait. Are you talking about me? Was telling you that he wasn't no bust? I told you let him play. If anything, if you said something like that. But I got a whole video that had the most thumbs down to this day of me saying he's not worth a top 10 pick.
Dude,
and me outlining every reason that I saw.
And for the record, I wanted to trade the hell out of that pick. I had no interest.
Everybody did, but if you're stuck there, I would have took Isaiah Simmons if I'm stuck there, but that's another story.
Brown.
So that's the difference. My belief in Witherspoon at 6 is far more than it was Okudah at 3, so they are not the same. Listen. It's because Quin can't draft, and Patricia chased Slay out of Detroit, and he needed to make a splash to try and make up for that. And he's an idiot who couldn't draft.
But my question to you is this, and I see you in the back. I'm going to bring you in, Rumble. I agree, but I want to ask you this question. Okay, I really want to ask you this question because this is something that I've been thinking about. So when do you go out and get Jared Goff replacement? That's what I want to know, Anthony. When do we go get the replacement?
You go with the replacement when you find the guy that you want. And I know there's a danger that day may never come and that you're going to lose drafts and that, but you've got to wait until you genuinely feel you have the right person for you and your franchise. And, I'm just a talking head on the internet who says he doesn't like the guys this year. I have nothing to what Brad Holmes and that does. But if it is me personally and I'm looking at this draft, I'm waiting. I held firm last year with Willis. I will hold firm until I need to hold firm too, because I'm not going to jeopardize the future of this franchise by wasting a number 6 overall pick and maybe again not getting to go back up there and do it again. And I'm stuck with a guy on my books. I just would not do it.
I just find it funny because a team that I think can fit this scenario the best, although this team wins all the time, it's the Steelers. And they tried everything in their power to get guys that they can groom and stuff like that. And they took them later. And some of them panned it out, some of them didn't. And they ultimately ended up getting a pick high enough and had a quarterback fall to them because the draft wasn't heavy. And they was like, okay, cool. Right? And my reality is this. We don't take the quarterback, cool. So right now, all right, I was against taking Okudah. I'm looking pretty good in that result, right? I was against taking a quarterback last year or the first year, and I'm looking pretty good in that result. I'm against forcing a pick on a cornerback when the learning curve is higher for a quarterback. So I'll bring in my man Rumble. Rumble can come in and chew me a new one. Again, it is in the description. It's pinned at the top. If you want to jump in here and yell at me, please do. I missed Dr. Detroit. That last one, we had so much fun on. Hopefully he jump in and yell at me soon. But Rumble, what do you think about this? And I'm asking this question because I see a hypocrisy in this fan base. They were perfectly fine waiting on a fast-ass receiver because this fan base die and live with receivers. But God forbid, we wait on a quarterback who's hurt.
So my thing is, good. First of all, hey guys, what's up, man? And Crimson, chat, Luke, of course. My thing is this: you have so many picks in the top 100. I believe we can get away with addressing a draft pick for a quarterback. Let them get some reps in with the, with our O-line during training camp, and let's let. This is going to help us because we're going to give Ben Johnson a quarterback who's fresh, who's right out of college, and let's see what he's capable of doing. We forget that so much of Ben Johnson's success has been in Goff. Goff's been in the quarterback who went to the Super Bowl, who at one point in time was considered the cream of the crop. The guy had a successful few seasons in LA, and he pretty much helped resurrect that team with, and get him to the promised land. Unfortunately, he didn't, he didn't come through. But this whole notion that we don't need to address quarterback right now we kind of do right now. We have 5 picks in the 100, if I'm not mistaken, top 100.
No, I think it's lower than that. I think you said 5 picks. Yeah, we got 4 in the top 82. I think it is.
Okay.
5.
Is it 5 in the top 82?
5.
2 first, 2 seconds, and a third.
Yeah.
You can pretty much still. We know Brad Holmes is capable of building the defense through the later parts of the round. So I don't see why we don't address that. And we have a O-line who is confident. We have a rookie in Penei Sewell who's no longer a rookie, who's starting to get recognized, who's starting to be a household name. Of course, And then we have a couple of enigmas on defense that we have to sort out in Okudah. But again, you have to draft a quarterback. If not this year, you can't wait till next year, because this year we might win 10, 12 games. Who knows? And then, like you said, we run amok of not having enough draft capital to pick the guy that we want, or pick somebody who, God forbid, golf has an injury that we can't replace. Like we need that. We need Ben Johnson to be able to kind of groom this young kid, and then we need the O-line to have confidence in the young kid, build a rapport. Regardless, if he sits a year, so be it. We definitely have to address that position though. And I'll have one more point.
Go ahead.
Joey Porter Jr. is that's my cornerback.
That's mine too. That's number one.
It's just because it's his pedigree. I think he's gonna come in. He's got an edge on some of these other guys because his dad and his dad's a Steeler, and hopefully he can bring some tenacity to that secondary. And unfortunately, Okudah's gonna get. I think he's a slot corner at best. I'd rather have him closer to the line. I'd rather have him closer to the line. He can tackle the running back here or there if he doesn't get ran over. But we definitely have to cover a loss with that kid. Unfortunately, like Ann said, he was one of those guys who we traded away. Well, we didn't, but Patricia traded away.
People gave him 3. People wanted him to have 3 more years, but that's another story.
You traded away. Yeah, you traded away Slay, and then that was your I hope this works pick. It was like, oh, let's snatch him up real quick, and it's not.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
Now, if you're looking at we don't need a tight end, and you're wondering who in the hell says that we don't need a tight end,
if we take Mayer at 18, I swear to God,
and Brad, we trust. Stop this noise. That is Mr. Mike Kimber from Micro Mike, formerly known as Micro Mike, who's showing up with the we don't need a tight end. Also, linebacker lives matter, right?
Yes. That linebackers' lives do matter, and we damn well don't need a tight end. I trust what Brad Holmes does. If he does tight end, I'm going to take a walk for a little bit. And that's all I can say. It's going to be a nice little walk. Because I'm going to lose my shit.
What are your thoughts on this? I mean, obviously, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Jalen Carter topic in itself? Because there's a lot of talk about that with the Jalen Carter talk. Would you take him? Would you still draft him if he's there at 6?
Well, here, I don't really know the situation. Here's my thing. Just let it play out. We don't really have all the facts. I think that's really important. My questions would be, did he see the accident? And if he's seen it and he's like, oh, I'm out of here, I think that's jacked up. If he didn't see it or had no idea, then yeah, why wouldn't you? I think he's very talented guy. But if he's like, hey, my buddies just got a car wreck. I gotta get out of here. I'll be like, man, dog, come on, bro, that's bad.
Correct me if I'm right or wrong. I don't know how much are you going to say that they were buddies, because that guy was coming in, an incoming recruit. He wasn't, and Carter has been there for like 2 or 3 seasons.
Hey, man, if you see me getting a car wreck, you'd help me. Even if you see an enemy, you'd be like, man, I'm going to help this dude out. I think that's... But we don't know this. I don't know the situation. I don't know the situation.
No, but let's say
we'll figure it out in time.
But based on what you know, would you take him if he's at 6?
Depends who else is there. I don't like if
Will Anderson is gone. Let's say Bryce is gone. CJ Stroud is gone. Let's say Jalen. Let's say Seattle decides at 5 they're gonna take Witherspoon.
They're gonna take what?
They're gonna take a cornerback at 5.
Oh, well, I thought you said a Willis bum. I said, who the hell is a Willis bum?
No.
Damn. So look, man, I think I'd take Jalen Carter just knowing the situation now. Like, I'd take him, but I mean, we got a month and a half to figure out what's going on. But I have him as my number 1 rated prospect. So if everything turns out okay, if he's there, I personally would do it for sure. Will Anderson, if he's there, I'd do it, even though we really need an edge. Bryce Young, if he's there, I'd draft him. If CJ Stroud's there, I'd draft him. if Michael Mayer's there, I'm not drafting him. It just depends. But I think the Lions could trade out of that pick, in all honesty. Like, we got to do a mock draft. Let's do a live mock draft, man. Let's get.
I plan on doing some the mock battles and stuff. I always lose them because everybody always say like you. And then I look back at the players that I want to be doing so nice, and I'd be like, okay. like I remember I kept saying like we need to get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Anybody who escorts you off the field gets my vote of confidence. And everybody acted like it was a shock when he was took it. I'm like, I was hyped as hell when we took it. I was like, yes, we got St. Brown. People looking at me like, what am I? I'm like, you don't understand. This dude is as close to Hines Ward as you're gonna get. This is it. This guy is aggressive. I was going nuts on that stream. Like, this is it.
Who was that receiver that got taken from Michigan?
Oh, God. Come on, Crimson. Damn it. Nico Collins for the Texans. I talked so much. They was coming so hard at Michigan State. I just had to talk trash. Like, look at Nico Collins. He ain't even going to get it. As soon as I said that, they drafted him the next pick. I went, you got to be shit.
It was the funniest shit.
Shout out.
So let's do this really quick, man. Who do you think's going to go first overall? I think it'd be obviously
Anderson.
Bryce Young.
Will Anderson.
I think they're trading out of that pick, man. I don't
think they're trading that pick at all. I think the price is too damn high, like the rent, and I think that people are going to shy away from wanting to pay that price tag to move up to take an undersized quarterback. I do not believe that they're trading that pick. They're taking Will Anderson, and then at number 2, Bryce Young will go to the Texans, and then at 3, I think that this is where you're going to see Jalen Carter come off the board. And if they skip on Jalen Carter, which I would be surprised if they trade the pick, because they could trade it and move down. I think that the Cardinals have a good chance of doing the trade. I think the Lions have a good chance of doing the trade, but the Colts ain't moving no damn way unless they're going up to get their guy. And at that point, I just think the price is too high. Who do you think is trading up to get to the first pick?
Carolina.
I'm honest. I think Carolina is aggressively doing it, man. I think they'll give because they're already in conversations right now for this year's first and next year's first, 2025's first, a 3rd round pick this year, and something else I've seen.
Yeah, I don't. It's just too much. I don't think it happens. Shout out to TA who says 49ers didn't know Lance was going to get hurt, but they were smart by drafting Purdy as well. You can take quarterbacks every year if you want one. Yeah, you can. And the smart thing would be to do just that. That's what I would do. I would damn near take one almost every 2 years if it was me, but that's just me. Because I would try to avoid having to pay people this money unless they're absolutely exceptional at what they're doing. I go, okay, I keep them, right? But for the most part, no. I just think that if you're stuck at 6, and none of the I'm not taking a cornerback at 6 just because, we need a corner. We've been needed a fucking corner. we need a linebacker. We've been needed that. We need deep tackles. Been needed that. We need safeties. We've been needed that. This is not news to people. Like, I don't know why not all of a sudden everybody wants to. Everybody got their receiver, right? They've been able to rub their nipples and calm themselves down, and now they want to go defense. It's ridiculous.
I think we go BPA. I don't really care what side of the ball it is. I know that sounds crazy. I just want to go best player available and not screw up. Be forced to take a pick.
I tell you what, I got a friend who's a Bear fan who is 100% sure that the Bears are trading that pick. And I'm telling you, I don't see the Bears going from 1st to 9. I do not. Well, they need help they need prayer. If they do that, you're essentially saying we're going to go one more bad year and get our quarterback next year, because there's no way in hell you've done anything to assist your quarterback you have now.
I got a Bears friend too, and the dude's thinking they're taking a quarterback. They're thinking they're done with Fields.
What?
I don't think that's fair.
It's been a lot of talk about them taking a quarterback. It's been a lot of talk that they may go in a different direction with a different quarterback.
Well, they don't have a
O-line. They could be a dumbass. That's fine, man.
Right.
Like Justin Fields.
That's crazy. They don't have an O-line. They're not going to bring a younger kid in and not have an O-line to protect them. Then you're going to get Fields all over again.
Exactly.
That'd be dumb.
It's just I don't see it happening. Now, it
is the Bears though.
Again, I just don't see it happening. I don't see a scenario. I don't see it. I do not. That price tag is high. Would you say they look like it's going to be a first what?
Yeah, they're already in negotiations. That potentially could be traded before free agency starts. That's what Rich Eisen said today.
I believe it when I see it.
Well, Wow.
I believe it when I see
So
it.
I think the Panthers are extremely aggressive. Now, it could be the Colts. Colts want a quarterback. Hey, I don't want them to trade it because they get a lot of draft capital for that. I personally don't want them to, but that's just what's being reported. I think potentially, man, but seriously, quarterback could go 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, you could see a situation where it happens.
Yeah,
and then the Lions are in gold.
Yeah,
then you're in gold. You just take the other player, Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Or if there's a quarterback sitting there at 6, say it's Will Levis, one of these teams that want a quarterback. Hey, man, I'll trade out. I'm not big on Will Levis.
But that's a Brad Holmes type guy. I'm serious. He fits the whole Brad Holmes mode. I'm just being honest. So, but in Brad Holmes we trust. So, it says according to Peter King on NBC Sports, Bears general manager Ryan Poles is confident that he can swap first round picks in 2023 while adding additional first round picks in 2024 and 2025. It doesn't say that they have a deal done.
They're negotiating. What they said is they're negotiating.
Everybody
there is truth to John Johnson coming to the Lions in free agency. I heard that. That's a target for Detroit. Is John Johnson, the safety that was released from Cleveland Browns. Yep, that is legit rumor.
Hey, it's better than Juju.
I don't see it. Listen, listen. If you you gotta understand something. Everything that people fought me on, they still won't now. Like I told people, sorry, Kirby Joseph is Tracy Walker 2.0. No, he's not. Okay,
it's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is, but they play the same position. I don't like neither one of them in the box.
It's not a bad thing. It's just Tracy Walker and Kirby Joseph complement each other, being the very similar type of players. That's just the thing.
Okay, listen. All right, listen.
That's the question.
Well, listen, because I got a few more minutes and I got to get out of here. Today's battle with me and my children is Uno, and I am the bum in Uno, so I have no doubts I will win that game today. I do want to hit one more topic because I think that it needs to be addressed. And we talked about the quarterback thing. I gave you my viewpoint. You have a different viewpoint. I respect that. I don't, that John Johnson thing is a bunch of baloney to me. I wouldn't touch him if it was me. But hey,
I wouldn't touch anybody's Johnson.
Fair enough. But my point is, you're getting ready to go into a draft where you can essentially get a safety. Why? This is what I'm saying. Just why?
I don't know if they're going to try to convert one of those guys to corner. I don't know what Dre Bly has up his sleeve. I don't know, man. I just think our secondary is they need help. The middle of the field needs help. And,
we've been talking about this for the longest. I know I've been on this one, and people thought I was losing my mind. I want to talk about this really quick because this is what's being reported by NFL.com, and then they took it and redid it on. I think it's the Proud of Detroit thing or something like that. I can't remember what the hell it was. I'm drawing a serious blank right now. Let me look up there. Yes, Proud of Detroit. And these are basically who they talked to at the combine that's been known so far. Now, the name that everybody has went crazy over, and apparently Mike is going nuts over, is because he saw it come up like, why are we talking to this guy? Which is Sam Laporta. He's like,
oh my God.
Another Iowa tight end? Did we not learn?
Hey, listen, I'm telling you right now, I don't think that TJ Hockenson was a bad pick. I think that TJ Hockenson didn't live up to the part of his game in terms of blocking. But in terms of everything else, I thought he was okay. But in this case, Mike is already protesting. He's already made it clear that he's protesting. However, I've been paying attention to who the Lions have visited and where they met them at and all this stuff like that. And this is what I figured out. I went back to 2021, but for some reason, I must have just clicked off of it like a douchebag. My bad.
A lot of wide receivers there.
It's a lot of freaking wide receivers, right? And when you go to 2021, here's the top 30 visits that they had, right? And we know that they took Aiden Hutchinson, right? And, they saw him, they
50-50 on their visits, man. They are.
And that's what I'm saying. It's crazy when you look at it because right here, right? They looked at a whole lot of linebackers, right? And they eventually got a linebacker because all these people were gone by the time this one wasn't, right? This one wasn't. But a lot of these guys were gone by the time they can get to him. And they looked at edge rushers and stuff like that too. Obviously second and third options. But look at the number of safeties that they looked at, and they did end up taking Kirby Joseph. So they took Kirby Joseph in this regard. They took Aiden Hutchinson also. They looked at a few other people, only 2 quarterbacks that they looked at. But the pattern is if there's a lot of them on there, it's one of them getting took it in the draft.
Yep. It's 50%.
It's 50%, right? And then you start to go through and look at the pro days, right? You start to go, oh man, running backs, right? But they didn't really do that. But then it was a lot of receivers, right? A lot of tight end, a lot of O-line. But overall, what you start to see is with a lot of these visits is that in this process, when you see a lot of one position up there, you should be concerned. Like you see a whole lot of receiver right now. And obviously we got a few more weeks and visits coming up, but you need to be very concerned. You need to be very concerned because this is starting to become a pattern that I am able to start to pick up on. Like, oh, this goes into the rest of the Brad Holmes Rolodex, right? Where he takes the guys who are captains and, the guys who have played at least 4 seasons in a lot of these cases and stuff. Like, he's taking these guys, right, that he think are leaders, and he don't care if they hurt, right? But that could be part of the Rolodex, hurt or not. That's even better for him. He believes that we can heal him, right? He got them praying hands, right? So I'm just saying.
Wait, Ellie Ricks isn't on there. He's hurt all the time.
He's hurt right now.
Exactly. First round pick.
The all injured team.
Listen, not my idea, but my question is to you fellas, is of this list right here. We started off with you, Anthony. Of this list right here, what intrigues you the most about this? Given the history that if they visit with them, they taking them.
I mean, they don't though, do they? There's not that many we've visited that we've taken. I mean,
who I saw.
It's 50%, man.
There was a load of it. You get a lot of visits though, Luke. So there's a lot of players. Yeah. So obviously you're going after the players who have a lot of interest for you, but you've got all the pro days to go. Yeah. There's a lot of people we don't know about. I mean, at the minute, it's obviously, they're looking for guys. We need offensive linemen. We need a wide receiver. People say offensive line, not really an issue, but, we're going to, in this time next year, we might have 5 guys getting paid real big sums of money, and we can't afford it. Jonah's going to get paid a fortune. You've got to start looking for more tackles. Receivers, outside of Amon-Ra, Jameson's going to be healthy, but you're going to need more depth going forward as well at the position. We need linebackers.
We do.
It seems a standard thing for him. A lot of these guys here, and you say they are leaders. Sam Laporta. You say about Iowa tight ends, we ain't going to be taking this Iowa tight end at number 6 or 7. Sam Laporta is a day. Sam Laporta is a day 2 pick. He is an example of a leader because the Iowa offense has been gashed for years, and he has stayed there and been very loyal to the program. You're looking there. What I will say about these guys, and what I agree with, they have the right mentality. When you think about these players, Trenton Simpson, leader, leads by example, well looked upon. All these guys do. Noah Sewell, entirely respected by the Oregon locker room, leads by example. Quentin Johnston won the game against Michigan for them, had a big day, stepped up when he needed to, performs really well. I see what he's looking at in players. These are guys who are highly driven. They want to keep getting better. Never enough. It doesn't surprise me these guys are on there. I look at it and it actually makes quite a bit of sense, to be fair. So I'm not worried. I think, and I've said this all along, I don't think Brad Brones is like a BPA guy. I think he's looking for specific players. All the draft picks he makes, they're very cold and very calculated based on the player. It's the characteristics as much as the football player, but both of them, in both cases, they're both high level character and talent. And a lot of these
and injury.
And tight end.
It's regardless.
I mean, you slid that in there real. I mean, the great
Why
curveball on that one. Shit. He do love an injured player. I give him that. It's almost like he shit, he got broke fingers. Ooh, I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. It's weird. What are your thoughts on this, Rumble? You know, looking at this list, what's intriguing to you the most?
I like what Anthony said about the leaders and what you brought up as well. Now, some of these guys could just be kind of smoke and mirrors. Like we know these guys. These guys play head games, especially Brad Holmes. Like you said, you brought up who they looked at last year. Nowhere on there did I see Jameson Williams. You had 30 names. I don't think I saw Jameson Williams' name at all on any of those visits. But yeah, a lot of these guys to Ant's point, man, like Iowa was terrible. And the fact that this guy, the tight end, stuck around when there's, you know, those NIL deals everywhere, and he stuck around because, hey, maybe he likes Iowa. I don't know, but you need guys who kind of know what it takes to really be like, you know, really down there, and who knows what it's going to take to kind of build it up. You know, you need guys who knows what it's like to kind of lose, because that builds character. That's somebody who wants to. It's like a blank canvas. They want to win, so they're going to be more open to you coaching, and they're going to be leaders, and they're going to be someone who can share experiences with other players or other people who don't see the big picture. I think those are some of the intangibles that we don't even talk about. And then, of course, Noah Sewell, I think that kid is going to be, if we get our hands on him, I think he's going to do everything in his power, him and his brother, to make that Sewell name a much more household name. And then, you know, Trenton Simpson, I mean, that guy is just, you know, he's from Clemson. And those majority of the players that have come from there are, you know, smash mouth, down south, you know, ready to kick butt at a drop's notice. Those guys are built for war. And you know, Anthony Richardson, yeah, man, the kid is the sky's the limit for him. He's 6'4", 245. He's a freaking creative player, man. Like I can build him on Madden right now, and it wouldn't even make sense. So
yeah. Well, he's still gonna do the same thing that Madden game usually do with rookie quarterbacks anyway. Have them throw it to the fucking stands, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, behind this O line,
that's Tim Boyle.
If he gets a decent enough training camp behind this O line, and if Ben Johnson's able to get his hands on him, and the kid is really committed to being a starting quarterback, man, we don't know. We don't know about him. He could very well be one of the one of those guys we're talking about in 10 years. But yeah, I like this list. Like you guys say, they're all like leaders on our team. They all represent the C. So hey, kudos to them. And this is just the first 10. So I'm interested to see what the other 20 are going to look like.
Okay. Look, people. My son literally came up here and gave me the universal "Dad, we play this Uno before I go to bed" game. So I gotta wrap it up, people. I gotta wrap it up because I'm finna go get my win. You know, I'm not gonna lie. This week it was a rough week for Pokemon. I don't know. This is what happened when you don't have time to build your thing up. And he did. He had way too much time. And he slaughtered me. I mean, it was a massacre. I mean, if there was blood in the game, it would put Mortal Kombat to shame. So I'm going to get my revenge in Uno, and I think I can win that. But I want to get into the final thoughts, and I'm going to do it in order almost like how they came in from last two. First, start off with you, Mr. Mike. What are your final thoughts for the people? He said, just stick to Tetris. I love Tetris, but he ain't there yet. I will still beat him in Tetris. He ain't there yet. Step your Pokemon
Tetris
game up.
Yes.
You're right. Step your Pokemon game up. You're right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
On that list, really quick, there was 10 players and 7 were offense. Brad Holmes talked about how we drafted 6 players on defense. People, I think you're going to be, if you think we're going all defense, You're about to be shocked because I don't believe that's the case.
Yep. I think so. I think you're right. I know that was my observation that most of these people were offensive players. And I just went, the fuck is this? Like, that's my first thought. So, but yeah. I needed more time, but yeah, I got to do this Uno game. My man Lions Rumble 81. What's going on, brother? Give me your final thoughts.
Hey, man. I'm just looking forward to the mock drafts that are coming out. I know, Luke, you got something special lined up for us, I'm sure. Hopefully I'm a part of that stream as well. I'm just curious to see all you guys' mock draft in the chat and on the stream right now. I've seen Ants a little bit, but I'm just curious as to where you guys see we vastly need improvement at. And I'm curious as to seeing you guys' GM mind, so to speak. Who do you think is going to fit with this team quicker? Because again, the goal is to own the North this year. The goal is to be a double-digit winning team. The goal is obviously to, kind of repeat some of those wins we had last year. Green Bay, I think we could sweep them this year. Chicago certainly, and hopefully Minnesota we can sweep this year. So I'm just curious to see you guys what moves you make and who you think will be a perfect fit for our team moving forward. And as always, thank you as always, Luke. Thank you guys.
Hey. Appreciate it. He's my man Admin Washington says, although Satin Bennett is 100 years old, 100 years, and Max Duggan isn't a household man, why don't they get talked about more? It's because with Duggan, in my opinion, I think with him, you don't really know what you're getting in terms of a player. Many of them see him as a backup in general, in my opinion, and with Bennett,
Stetson?
I think Bennett. With Bennett, I think it's just the fact that people think that he only looked good because he was on Georgia. That's why.
And the fact that everybody's grandfather wears Stetson.
I'm not. Let's go to my man Crimson Shadow. Give me your final thoughts.
Back to that list again. Where the heck was a D tackle in that list? I did not see a D tackle. I mean, I'm not shocked.
It's another tail, though. It's another tail.
It's like, okay, I can understand why Sika's not on the list, but no Tune, no. Can't see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Reed. I wouldn't. If you told me you took him maybe in the 4th or 3rd, I wouldn't be mad at it because I think the guy's definitely got potential to be a freaking beast in the league. But okay, this list is a little more concerning. But I agree with Mike on this one. If you're expecting, our draft boards to be like what Brad Holmes is drafting, he's probably gonna flip the table on us again.
So I got a bet with a friend that Brad Holmes needs to go all defense with the first 4 picks, right? And I betted that not only would he not go all defense, but he's going to draft at least 2 to 3 offensive players within those first 4 picks. And he laughed at me. Okay. So it's a little bet I got with him. I plan on winning that bet 100%.
I'd have done that after free agency, Luke, because that might change a lot.
Nah, I'm confident. I feel pretty good. I mean, I feel pretty good.
4 wide receivers or 3 wide receivers?
My soul says he does not generally take a lot of these defensive players high. He takes them in the 2nd round. He prefers to get his offensive players higher in the first. You get your first one with Aiden Hutchinson, right? And then he went and traded up. And when everybody thought he was going to go defense, what does he do? He takes a hurt receiver. So I'm just saying, Anthony, give the people your final thoughts and tell them where they can find you and the crew at.
You can find us at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of British fans, Detroit Lions fans over here, over the Atlantic. We like to give a different take on things. So if you want to ever come and hear a different view about the Lions, come check us out. You can find us on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I just want to say thanks as always to everyone on the panel and in the chat. I know we've talked about a lot of serious issues and whatnot this evening, but I just want to say, like Rumble, Crimson, chat, we all need to come together in one big prayer circle and send all our best wishes to Luke that he may win against his kids at Uno. We are sending you our prayers, Luke, that he may not lose again.
He's gonna be throwing them like Pokemon cards. Draw
Listen,
4.
He was talking to me like he was talking to me as he was winning them matches. Oh, look at you. He sleep. He's doing the John Cena in my face like you can't see me. I'm like, man, I'm so upset. It was rough. It was rough.
Oh yeah, that's your kid, 100%.
Yeah, it was rough. He tried it. It's okay because Uno finna hurt his feelings. People, you know me. I always appreciate doing the show. I had to get on, and I know I got on later than I would like to. Hopefully I can do this again tomorrow. Although I am up for being mandated tomorrow. Yay, mandation.
Oh, boy.
But today we got to do a positive quote. Today's positive quote comes from the internet because I have no clue who said this. He says, everything is easy when you're busy, but nothing is easy when you're lazy. That one kind of hurt a little bit because I realized some things about people is that we like easy. You know, if we can have the easy button, we would take advantage of it and never look back. We want easy. Easy is cool. Easy is special. Easy is fun. But the reality is the best of the best, the challenges that steps in our way, those moments where you're not sure you're going to be able to rise up, that's what brings the best of us out. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us stronger. Every last one of these of us in here has had some type of challenge. We've all been through something. We've all been pushed to a break. We've all been told we can't have that promotion. We can't go out and go to the gym. We've been told that we can't do it. And so we accept it because it's easy. So easy. But then when it comes time to get busy, it comes time to put in work to make it truly easy, we get lazy and we do nothing. And we wonder to ourselves all the what else and what not. And then we lie and say we don't have any regrets while looking at ourselves in the mirror and telling ourselves, I could have did this different. I could have took more time on this. I could have said that. But see, this is a life where you don't have to have regret because you don't have to worry about things getting easier for you. You have the control to not only make it easy, but make it a simple, smooth ride. All you have to do is simply accept the challenge. Simply get busy, get to work, get moving, get things done. Don't be lazy. Don't sit up there and wait for it to be handed to you. Don't sit up there and wait for somebody to do it for you. Don't sit up there and think that, oh, I can't do this because I have this. Change, people is what this message says. Because who you are now does not mean you have to be that person tomorrow. And that's not just a metaphor. That means figuratively, and that means spiritually and emotionally. You can change if you're willing to put in the work. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rocking with me. Let me know if y'all enjoyed the music rant. I just had to do it that way because I thought it'd be kind of fun. And if you did, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know. I need to know. How else would I know unless you tell me? But I just wanted to say to you all, thank you for joining me. Good night. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are